not want, like, my brother and his wife to get a divorce and, like, hey, guess what she's doing? Like, he's like, no, I'm trying to move on. So don't be that sibling.
But you do feel like you kind of almost have to pick sides. So, like, I definitely understand where you're coming from, especially if they've integrated in the family. I think it's very situational, though. It's, like, it's hard for us because we're like, there's so many things that could factor into it.
They didn't know that behind the scenes that they...
Yeah, like, what if, you know, somebody was, like, doing drugs, like, secretly in the bathroom, and, like,
and
that's
what
ended it.
And you're like, oh!
Taking a name, you code at the door, and welcome to the game.
Welcome back to Dear Dilemma. As you can see, we have a new setup.
Woo!
It's about time. We really want to get comfy and just have a different... I don't know.
Vibe, maybe.
Yeah.
A little more approachable. I feel like the table that we had was like too formal. I don't know. We're like just laid back people.
We are. So, new setup, super excited. Comfy chairs, comfy blankets, comfy crew necks.
It's a work in progress. You know, eventually we'll probably do a little bit more, but we're doing this in phases.
But we're super excited for our new setup. So,
love it.
Here we go. We do have a new submission for this week, and I think, Hannah, do you have that?
I do, and I'll go ahead and read it for you guys. So, what is your dilemma, right? We ask everybody.
Oh, we need to know.
What's your dilemma? When your sibling has a great girlfriend or boyfriend that is integrated into the family, and then they break up, how do you navigate those dicey waters? You love the boyfriend or girlfriend, but you also love your sibling. Have you guys ever experienced this, and how did you deal with it?
No. No. Well, the only closest thing, I guess, experiencing it is my now ex-brother-in-law, because my sister and him obviously divorced, but he's still part of the family. Like,
well, he like comes over and helps you with stuff on your house.
Yeah, he literally helped me put windows in, and what was that, last fall, he helped me put windows in. If there's anything like we need, he's going to be there to help us. Like, that relationship's never going to go away because it's that good of her. And my sister respects that too. She's like, if I say something like, oh, I need to do this, she's like, well, just call him up and he'll help. And I know he will, and he never like wants payment either, because I feel like you're taking your weekend to help me,
taking advantage of it or something.
Yeah, so I always get like a gift certificate, but that's probably the closest, I think.
Does she, like, are they friends though, like your sister and her ex-husband, or like they just cordial?
Yeah, cordial.
Just cordial. Okay.
They have a son, so it's more like communication about him more than anything. I think if she were to ever need anything or was in a serious situation, like, he's not gonna, I mean, it's the mother of his kid. It's not like bad blood between them or anything. I think it's taken some time. But yeah, he's still in the family. Like, he's still, like, even though we invite him to all the holidays, he doesn't show up. He drops off my nephew and that's it. But like, he knows he's invited. He does come to like my brother's cookouts and stuff when we have that. So
I guess that's a good positive example then of it. And I mean, for me, my sister has had like some boyfriends in the past, but nothing like super serious. Probably like the weirdest situation maybe was when she went off to college, and her boyfriend at the time was like working for my parents and was also my tutor for like pre-calc. So she moves off, goes off to college, whatever. They're doing long distance, and then she breaks up with him for her now husband.
So how did you...
So, I mean, at that point, like, he was still working for my parents, and then he was still my tutor for a while, and, like, we were cordial or whatever, but I think he kind of just got the drift, like, he needed to move on. So, I mean, eventually, like, everything turned out fine. But it was, like, a little awkward I'm like, I'm hanging out with your boyfriend more than you are because he's my tutor right now and, like, working with the parents.
Yeah.
But also, it was just strange because she was like, I'm totally into this other guy.
And then it's awkward because what if they broke up and then it's like it's a bad breakup, but then you guys are still, because it didn't say like specifically if it's a good breakup or a bad breakup.
Right.
So if it's a bad breakup and you're like, oh man, we really like them, like now what? And like working for your parents and
like
how
they've
awkward is
integrated
that?
a lot into the family, you know, at
you're
that
not
point.
like backstabbing your sibling in your situation, like it's your tutor and he's literally
like working,
getting
getting paychecks.
Ooh, I don't know. That would be a hard one. I think if it ends on a good note and there's cordial with each other, eventually things fizzle out and you probably end up not talking to them anymore. But then I think obviously, it's okay to continue to maybe have that relationship. Like it could be a thing where like you're going off to college and we want to break up and we're still friends, but like during breaks I still want you to hang out and see you or whatever it may be. But then what if it's a bad breakup?
Yeah.
I feel like you have to take your sibling's side unfortunately be like, I really like you and we have nothing against you and I'm really sad that this has happened to you guys and that it's not working out, but like I can't
I think you
talk to you.
I think you have to take your sibling's side. Like, so what's kind of interesting is that my husband was my best friend's brother. So I was best friends with his sister, okay, like through college or whatever.
Took me a second,
and so she finally like set us up. But I always kind of knew in the back of my head if like things went sideways, like probably our relationship wouldn't be the same.
Yeah.
Because I knew that like at the end of the day, she's probably going to end up choosing her brother. Obviously. Like if we ever broke up. And I kind of already knew that, but I also think we would have still been friends, but maybe from a distance. Like we would never would have been as close as what we were. And I think I kind of always knew that. Yeah. So I think that it just depends on the situation. Yeah. Like how close are you with the family member, and can your sibling understand?
Yeah.
That your significant other or whatever. Like
if it's a relationship, this is the issue I've had with my family is I've gotten out of the relationship, like my second to longest relationship, and they really liked him, and I had to tell them all like it ended, and then it got like really bad between us. We don't obviously talk, and I have to tell them like delete him off social media.
Oh
like,
my gosh!
Why are you still telling me things? Why are you? Oh, it drove
the
me
amount
crazy.
Of my extended family that's still Facebook friends with my ex-fiance is wild to me.
My mom, I'm like, delete him. Why? Because it's weird. It's weird. Right. It's weird now, and I think if it ends bad, like delete him off social media. Like it's weird. I think that's so weird, and maybe that's where I go into that. I'm blocking, you're deleted, and you're out of my life.
Yeah.
But, like, especially fresh out of the relationship.
Because your family shares stuff about you.
Don't be the sibling to then be like, hey, I'm seeing this on social media. We don't want to hear it. Like, we don't care. I would not want, like, my brother and his wife to get a divorce and be like, hey, guess what she's doing? Like, he's like, no, I'm trying to move on. So don't be that sibling.
But you do feel like you kind of almost have to pick sides. So, like, I definitely understand where you're coming from, especially if they've integrated in the family. I think it's very situational, though. It's hard for us because we're like, there's so many things that could factor into it.
They didn't know that behind the scenes that they...
Yeah, like, what if, somebody was, like, doing drugs like secretly in the bathroom and like that's what ended it
and you're like, oh,
and you're like, oh, there's such a great guy, Timmy. He's not a druggie.
To jail. He didn't go on spring break. He was in prison.
But like you're like your family doesn't know everything that goes on the ins and outs of the relationships. No. Like, I think there can be like abuse that happens behind closed doors too, and people don't know that like that's the ultimate reason these people broke up. So definitely maybe have that conversation with your sibling too, like, bro, why'd you guys break up? Like, can I still be friends with them? Is that okay with you? Or do I need to maybe just cut ties? Like, did they do you dirty? Yeah. Because that's another whole issue.
And don't go behind your siblings' back and secretly still like talk to them or whatever it may be. Like if you need to stick by your siblings' side
and just be upfront about it. Yeah. Ask them. I think their weight will be influential in that decision. Like you need to make sure that you have that conversation with your sibling first. If you can be friends with them still,
what about if they... The scenario, if they broke up and it's been a while and then there was somebody that's super serious and that like person is like, I don't feel comfortable that you guys are like the new like how do you
navigate like a new
that.
relationship.
Well, now I guess it depends on how your relationship
like
is.
the ex-boyfriend's still invited to the family with the new boyfriend or something.
Like still like the talking on Facebook or something like that. It's like, how does it make the new person in the relationship feel? Like, what do you do then? And I still think that you need to stick to your sibling's side, even if you don't like them as much as the last relationship or the last girlfriend boyfriend. You still need to be like, that's disrespectful.
Well, yeah. I mean, that was kind of actually something that happened to me when I first started dating my husband, because he had been married before me, and so like some of his siblings would like bring up his ex-wife, and I
like, how many times are we gonna do this?
I'm like, I would get kind of insecure because I'm like, well, like obviously like there's nothing there between them anymore, but like his family are like, they're still bringing her up, they're still talking about her, and I was kind of like, oh,
it makes you think like, am I not as good as she was or something?
Like,
and it's not that you're not, you start to think those things. So don't be that sibling that does that, because then your sibling's going to start overthinking.
Yeah, and it just takes time to like get to warm up to that new person and get to know them, and like now she's like rarely ever mentioned, but in the beginning it was a little bit more, and I think it was just they were like comparing and trying to figure out.
Don't also be the sibling
me.
that once your brother or sister gets in a new relationship, don't compare the new to the old, because that's not fair either to the new person.
At least not in front of them. You can do it behind their back.
Maybe if you're like keeping like a pros and cons list, because I know you got to look out for your sibling and make sure that they're good for them, but don't blatantly do it in front of their face,
because then it's kind of awkward. It really is.
At Thanksgiving, like, well, I don't know, Bobby Joe really used to like my food. I don't know why you're not eating that. Like, it's just weird. Don't do that. But I think all in all, you need to talk to your brother or sister. If it ended on a good relationship, or ended on a good note, then either way, I think you need to talk to them to say like, hey, how do you feel? Like, we still really like them, or we still are on social media. Do you want us to delete? Do you want us to not talk anymore? And have that conversation with them. And eventually, even if they're like, yeah, go ahead and talk, it may fizzle out.
It might, yeah. But I do think having that conversation up front and maybe getting their guidance is probably a good thing, and then going from there. So that's our advice, I guess. I know every situation is different, so it's hard for Brooke and I to really truly give you specific advice. It depends on the situation, but that's kind of from our perspective what we think you maybe should do.
Yeah, hope that helps. And if any of viewers out there have had a brother or sister relationship like that, and let us know what you did, because
they're always interesting. I feel like
interesting comments, and it may give this person a little bit more advice than what we may have had. So well, hope you liked this episode. I hope you like our new setup, because I do. Super comfy. Make sure you stay tuned for Thursday's episode as we discuss a dilemma of ourselves.
Yes, and like, comment, subscribe on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok
at Dear Dilemma Official.
See you later, guys.